Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret Jones and I am a spiritual and transformational life coach. I'm also a tarot reader and yes, I wanted us to talk about naming your working objects or naming your working tools. Or at least, connecting with them and, the reason why people name, their tools. Yeah, so that's what I want us to discuss. So whether it's your tarot or your pendulum or your crystal, or your, crystal ball, if you want to name them. But I know that some people do name or have names for, maybe each deck they have like some tarot readers or people who do healing or energy work. They have names for the tools they work with, or the guides they work with. And yes, I wanted to discuss this because I've got a crystal ball and I've got some crystals that I do work with. Obviously, as a tarot reader, I have my tarot decks, and yes, these things are quite interesting because at first I thought I was the only one who um, who is interested or has an interest in naming stuff. And sometimes I know that you may have items or things, and they may feel masculine or feminine, as divine feminine, divine masculine. And the first time I got my crystal ball, I wanted to find out whether my crystal ball was masculine or feminine. Okay, and I want to show you my crystal ball. So this is my crystal ball. Yes, and so I do practice screen every now and then, so I'm sharpening my psychic gifts. So yeah, the first time I decided to connect and find out whether my crystal ball was masculine or feminine, I had the chills. I had the chills because when I was interested in connecting, getting to know what connecting with my third eye and everything, all the things we do as energy healers. I decided to stretch forth, and then in my mind I was asking this question, trying to attune with my crystal ball. And once I stretched out my hands and touched my crystal ball, and I heard the crystal ball, or I heard this voice within me. It says, "My name is Lucinda." I'm like, oh my God, Lucinda, what is that? Because I just thought, what is that all about? So that spooked me. That did spook me. So yes, my crystal ball is called Lucinda, and I left Lucinda there, and I decided not to don't touch her. Just, this is too much for me. So I just put Lucinda away, because I didn't name her. I didn't name my crystal ball Lucinda, but she just told me she's Lucinda. And so after a few days, I decided to find the courage and then, and go back and pick up my crystal ball. But then, before then, I decided to find the meaning of Lucinda, what that meant, because I thought that was a name that would never cross my mind at all on any circumstance. And I decided to check the meaning of Lucinda. And basically the meaning of Lucinda means shining a light on something or illumination. And what do crystal balls do? they, you need to light a candle and then they illuminate something to you. And I thought, wow, that is spooky. That is fantastic. And so I thought, wow, this is the crystal ball talking to me. I know this sounds strange, but that is how I felt. And I decided to get courage and go pick up Lucinda. So I was, I went pick up, and I could hear, once I was bonding with my crystal ball, and I could hear this voice telling me, you used to be Lucinda in another life. And so we are going to reconnect through the crystal ball. And that's why I'm Lucinda. I thought, wow. So in another life, so sometimes what I'm trying to say is, some people name their crystal balls, name their working tools. And sometimes these are energies that they are working with. This could be their spirit guide. This could be someone that they used to be. Because I didn't know that, because as Lucinda, from the message I get, I was probably like a witch or something like that, or spiritual healer in another lifetime. And the vibes I got through Lucinda was that I lived in the village somewhere, and which was ages ago, but I was a healer, and I used to heal people, and I used to see things, and I used to do stuff, like a herbalist. So the more I connected to Lucinda, the more I connected to the version of myself that was Lucinda. But this is not something I was even thinking of, because I just wanted to, I was just curious, because I always wanted to go into straying. And the fact that that didn't cross my mind. That never crossed my mind. But because I always know that people do name their crystal balls, their working tools, their decks, things like that. But it didn't cross my mind that I wanted to even name my crystal ball. But this is what happened. And yeah, so introduced herself to me. And so that part is a part of me that actually used to exist in another lifetime. And definitely in that life, I understand that, I was a seer, or someone who used to see, someone who used to heal people. Yeah, things like that. So I have a deck. And those of you who know me, that I do my tarot readings, I have this particular deck, I have several decks, but I think that was my third or fourth deck. And that deck has told me he's called Felix. Please don't ask. And so I work with Felix, and is one of my decks. I feel if you take a close look, you will see that it's one of the decks I use quite frequently. And yeah, Felix is a fixed sign. Felix is an Aquarius. That's how I feel with that deck, so I find it quite interesting that astrology is also linked to the 11th house. But I'm not making these things up. Sometimes these things happen, and when we get to see people who talk about naming their working tools or working objects, we shouldn't make fun of them, or we shouldn't think that they are woo-woo, because whether they are woo-woo or not, there is something to it, okay? Because I have experienced it. It didn't occur to me to name my tarot deck, but he told me that he's called Felix, and he's a he. And yeah, I understand that is Felix, and I work with Felix a lot, and Felix is, yeah, I think I would say probably my second or third deck that I got, but it was the only deck that actually I feel has got this energy that I can connect with. I know it may sound funny, but when you meet people who tells you that they've named this object or whatever. This could be people they used to work with in other lifetimes, and they are coming back to them to help them, and they can maybe, once they see that object or that crystal or that tarot deck, they have come to help them. Okay, so that is how I see. Do not judge people because you feel like they are strange. These things can happen. Like I said, I had no intention of naming my deck, or I had no intention of naming my crystal ball. I just wanted to, get to connect with my crystal ball. As we know, you have to, the more you work or the more you touch your deck and things like that, the more you connect with them on a deeper level. So for me, yes, these things happen. And so if someone is telling you that they are working with they've named their decks or objects, they are working with crystals, things like that, you shouldn't think that they're joking. It is serious, and that is how I see it, because I feel it is quite interesting that this thing happened to me. Like I said, I wasn't trying to name. I just wanted to check whether it's got masculine energy or feminine energy. And then they just told me, I'm called Felix. The other one told me, the crystal ball told me, I'm Lucinda. I used to be you. So when you connect with me, you are connecting with that part of yourself that you've hidden. It's like we hide some of our gifts. Okay. And I feel like the more I connect to Lucinda and the more I use Lucinda as the crystal ball, the more I'll connect to my deeper self and reconnect to someone I used to be. Like the way I see it, used to be like a very, very powerful witch. Doesn't mean like a witch as in negative. Someone who was a healer. That is how I understand it. And yes, there are some times I have touched Lucinda where I've had some visions as to who Lucinda was, or who I was as Lucinda. And I feel like, yes, it was not bad. So, but this was a very powerful, psychic abilities that Lucinda, who I was, had. And so I feel it would be great to reconnect with that side of myself. So I feel the need to constantly and continuously call my crystal ball Lucinda, so that I can connect with Lucinda, who is actually me from another lifetime. And I know that, some of you may not believe in reincarnation, but I do believe in reincarnation. And yes, this has caused me to really consider the reincarnation subject even more, take it more serious. And yeah, I'm going into some spiritual stuff that I'm doing it little by little at my own pace. And yes, so feel free if you have any working tools or working fairies or spirits that you work with, but as we can practically see them. If you want to share their names, or if you want to share, please feel free to comment in the comment box. And if you are thinking, or if you're having experiences like this and you want to get in touch, feel free to get in touch. And yes, so at some point I will start offering crystal ball readings once I feel I've really totally connected with Lucinda properly. We have connected, but I feel I want to be very sure that I want to do it, because I feel like the perception, the idea, how I see Lucinda in another lifetime, she was always spot on. And so yes, I hope this has been insightful for you. And if you hear people naming their objects or tools, working tools, you need to have respect for them, because this is true. Okay, it's true. So yes, if this is the subject you want to get more information about, or how to spray, whatever, feel free to comment. And yes, I will get back to you. And next time we'll talk about something that I'm sure you will also like to, listen to. And I will leave this here. And I will see you next time. And take care.